off. Hey, what's going on? We're live here on Sports Vibes TV. I'm your host, Quis, joined as always by my co-host, Inf. Inf, bro, the Knicks are in the
Good.
playoff. What's good?
Yo, it's about time. It's about time. It's been what feels like 10 years, but it's only been 8.
Yeah. It feels good, bro. And what feels even better is the fact that we're not going to be in that play-in tournament. I think that's icing on the cake.
Nah, just the fact that in the year when they created the play-in tournament, where, pretty much if you're the 10th seed or whatever, you have a chance at the playoffs, the fact that we clinched an actual legitimate spot this year, like,
Mm-hmm.
because this year everyone was competing down to
Facts.
the very last game. So the fact that we clinched a legitimate playoff spot this year, it's crazy.
Right. I think also the fact that we actually have a legitimate shot at that fourth seed. Right now, the Bucks are playing. If they're able to beat the Heat, who are playing right now without Jimmy Butler, as you told me, we really go into tomorrow's game with a lot on the line. So it's going to be a fun game tomorrow. But let's look at what the Knicks went out there and did today against the Hornets. Now, in the first half of that game, I was a little, I was like, all right, it seems like we could be able to put this on cruise control. And I kind of messed up with that thinking because it seems like the team kind of did put it on cruise control and they let the Hornets come back in that third quarter. So as you were watching, what were you thinking, Inf?
No, I was just thinking, do you really want to go against the Bucks in the first round? This energy that they was giving up, they was like, you know what, we're just gonna go against the Bucks. We're gonna lose this game, and it is what it is. So I was, especially after seeing how the offense flowed in that first half with that third quarter performance, I was nervous. I'm like, come
Mm-hmm.
on, man. We only have today and tomorrow to solidify being the fourth seed, giving us legitimate home court advantage.
Yeah, that third quarter, I mean, Bridges went off. I think he had, 16 points in that quarter? It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then coming into the third quarter, coming out of halftime, I think the Hornets were shooting right around 30% from the field, and they were only shooting 25% from the three-point line. So by the end of that third quarter, you saw that the Hornets, they raised those percentages almost by 10% each. I think at the end of the third, the Hornets were now shooting almost 40%, and then they were shooting 33% from three. So they were on fire in that third quarter. Luckily, we were able to get things back on track in the fourth. But man, I was out there nervous. I'm like, we cannot lose to the Hornets when we have so much on the line, bro.
No, yeah. We'd be having a different conversation if the I can't remember his name. I think DeJounte Graham.
Yeah,
If he would
Devontae
have made
Graham.
if he would have made that buzzer beater, like we have a different conversation right now. But you know what? Let's talk about overtime.
Salute to Shalindra, saying salute
Yeah,
Knicks fam. Enough love and blessings to everyone. Facts.
fact. Yeah.
Facts. Shout out to you. Thank you for pulling up and supporting the live stream. Yeah. You said you wanted to get into overtime a little bit?
No, yeah. Let's talk about overtime because Julius Randle is a beast.
Yeah, he was killing. Killing in overtime.
Oh my, I'm watching this and I'm just like, yo, why was I so upset when he was our only big name signing 2 years ago? Like, why was I so upset? Look at what he's doing. He is somebody else. He is who every team wished they had. Like, he is killing right now.
That's why you were upset back then, because he was a different player when we first brought him in. He kind of reinvented himself over the offseason. Uh, he in that overtime, I think to start the overtime, he drilled a three, then he hit a nice little mid range, and then he had three consecutive assists. I think
That's it.
one to Bullock,
And to Berg, and
Burks
then the next.
to
Wow.
Noel. Facts. So he was kind of listening almost to what Clyde was saying, because it was a little stagnant toward the end of that game. Everybody was trying to go real ISO heavy, but
And we didn't score for like the last 4 minutes.
last 4 minutes. Luckily, the Hornets didn't score for like the last 3:25. So they were stuck at, what was it, like 104, 102? We were stuck at, I think, was the score. So
Yeah.
luckily it ended up tied. We went into overtime, and then Julius Randle just played within himself, played within the team, and we were able to pull out this victory. He got us the little cushion, and then Alec Burks kind of just sealed the deal for us, operating and running the point.
Yeah, and just knocking down clutch shots. And salute to D. Burr and Gregory Lee. Let's go, Knicks. We here. We here. We here.
D. Burr is asking what's up with Mitch. I mean, they dropped some news recently. Mitch may be available here in the playoffs. I was thinking he wasn't going to be available. Here we go. I was thinking he was going to be injured and unable to actually help us in the playoffs. But they're slowly starting him to get him some on-court activities. And I think the report says they're going to move him when he's ready into 3 versus 3 and then 5 versus 5. So once he gets to 5 versus 5, it'll be a lot closer to joining us. And hopefully that'll be sometime, maybe end of the first round, or we make it to the second and it's this, middle of the second round.
We do not need Mitch back. We don't. Like, listen, let him heal his foot and come back next season. The chemistry we have right now. Remember, we went on a 9-game win streak without Mitch playing a single game. And the way that Noel is playing with the minutes that he's getting, he's like, let Mitch recover. Let him. Don't bring him back in the playoffs.
Come on, the team is not going to be worse if we bring back Mitch.
Salute to JD. He was like, "Uh-oh, did you say Mitch? Here comes him." He knew. He knew. And salute Dripmore, Steve Fox, Block 53.
Oh, Foxy, what's good?
Listen. Let Mitch sit down on the bench. Let him absorb playoff atmosphere from the bench. He has 0 playoff experience, so there is no guarantee that he would bring more to our team right now. He has none.
I mean, but
he doesn't.
I think when you look at the numbers, though, the team is still doing a lot better. I won't say a lot better, but the numbers are still slightly better with Mitch as the starter. And I think our second unit will definitely see a bump if we bump Nerlens Noel back down to the second unit. Plus, if we have Nerlens Noel go out there and be dominant as a starting center for a playoff team in the playoffs, it's going to be real hard to re-sign him at a reasonable cap figure. So it would be nice if Mitch could come back and we could. Well, even if Mitch were to come back, Nerlens Noel's probably not going to get demoted because you're going to bring back Mitch slowly. So I mean, it's a weird spot to be in because you don't want to bring him back too soon and risk re-aggravating the injury.
No, I mean, exactly. The last thing we need is him getting injured again, and then we're stuck with him because he loses trade value with every injury, and he gets injured every 3rd game he plays. He won't even last the full playoff series.
Here we go with the hyperbole.
I'm just it's not even high. Yeah, he got injured like 5 times this season. That's a hyperbole. It was 3, but he's wilding.
To be fair, the Knicks have had to deal with injuries throughout the roster, up and down. IQ's been out for stints. Burks has been out, whether it be his fault or Rona-related reasons. Rose has been out, so it's been fire to really see this team persevere through the injuries. Sometimes you see teams get derailed with players missing an extended period of time. But luckily, we've had Julius Randle to kind of captain the ship, and Tom Thibodeau make sure the people that are, have to fill in, that they're prepared when they come out there on the court.
No, absolutely. And Tom Thibodeau, if he doesn't get Coach of the Year,
they're gonna do him dirty, bro.
Because everyone and their mother was talking crazy, like, why is he bringing back Derrick Rose, including me? I'm like, why is he bringing back Derrick Rose? What is he doing? And look at the numbers that the team has done when Derrick Rose joined us versus when we didn't have him. Like, yeah, if that's not Tibbs, I don't know what that is. Like, this is a different Derrick Rose than the Derrick Rose who joined our team 2 seasons ago. Or 3 seasons ago, whatever it was.
Derrick Rose kind of said that, though. He said when he was here the first time, they were trying to turn him into a player he really wasn't. They were trying to turn him into like a catch and shoot or a spot up shooter when he's a guard that attacks the rim and he finds his teammates off that action. So that's why we're probably seeing a lot. We're seeing Derrick Rose in a different form, and maybe because he wasn't really playing much before he got here, so he's got a little bit more in the tank as opposed to him if he were playing for the entire season and we're here at the end.
I mean, that's fair, but it's also
Facts. Thibodeau definitely knows how to use him. But if I got the box score pulled up, right now I'm looking at the Hornets, and Bridges was killing us. Remember earlier we said he had 16 points in the third? He was wilding. Say it again. Facts. Yeah, the chats are coming in slow on my end. The JD one just pulled up. Thank you, JD. Appreciate it. Definitely, you guys go check out JD Sports Talk. You've seen him on the channel. He's actually been behind the scenes killing me on my Julius Randle take. So go check him out, JD Sports Talk. He's got a lot of videos out right now that are doing very well. Quality, definitely check him out. JD, the next time you pull up, we're gonna have to go on, back and forth a little bit on that Julius Randle take. I'm tired of you trying to violate me on via text message.
He said that my audio went out.
Your audio?
Yeah.
All right, Inf, bounce out and see if you can bounce back in.
Gotcha.
Let's see if that works. But yeah, let's pull back up the box score real quick. And we'll look at the Knicks. Like I said, coming into the show, Julius Randle was a monster. 33 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists, another triple-double for Julius Randle out here doing his thing. If you also want to see Reggie Bullock, he started the game on fire. I think in the first quarter, he was either 3 for 7 or 4 for 7 from 3. He kind of quieted down, but he had a pretty clutch mid-range shot. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the fourth quarter that kind of kept us in it. Nerlens Noel in the third quarter was a beast defensively. He had 3 blocks. In total for the game, he had 5. But he's been holding it down for us defensively. Like I was saying when Inf was on the line, we definitely have to find a way to bring him back, but at a reasonable figure. But with the way he's playing, I'm not sure if that's going to be possible. If you can hear me now, you good. All right. Can the chat hear? He's good now. All right, bet. Make sure everything copacetic. I haven't used the word copacetic in a minute. Hey, Freezy! What's good, Freezy? Definitely make sure you guys check out Blanche Tears. They got Knicks at night and they got Knicks morning drive. Go ahead. So do you think there should be a change in the starting lineup? Yeah, I mean, I was watching the team that closed it out, or the lineup that closed it out in this game, and I was kind of thinking, maybe if we do move Derrick Rose into this, say it again. Again? How did that happen? What's going on here? Oh, is that me? Yeah, that is me messing it up. All right, I got you. Mm-hmm. Look at this. All right, we should be good now.
Y'all hear me? Damn.
You should be good now. It's impossible. You got to be able. I think I fixed it. Let's see.
Y'all can hear me yet? Am I good?
Can you hear me? Can you
All right.
hear me? I bet. You see, we got power through, man. Got power through the tech issue. So go ahead. Restate. I don't even know. You were talking about Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose potentially getting put in the starting lineup, and you said no because Elf.
Oh yeah, no, because at this point we've already solidified who's our starters, and we have our rotation sets and all that. However, if for some reason in the first series we lose like the first or second game, then you know what, might as well look to switch up the lineup because, as playoff series go, it's more about the series and what actually works versus, having a consistent lineup. You got to switch up to win.
So based on our potential matchups, if we do get the 4 and we go up against the Hawks, you don't think you would still stick with Peyton and have him play defense against Trey?
Okay. Yeah, I would.
Okay, so yeah, I was saying, looking at the lineup that Tibbs was closing with today, he had Quickly and he had Burks out there, and then he didn't have Rose. So I was kind of, trying to see if maybe we do make a switch, because they had a conversation with Tibbs, and he really wasn't too reassuring when it comes to Elf remaining the starter. So if they do make a move, put Elf in the starting lineup, I think we could see, some pretty good synergy with Burks running the second unit as opposed to having Rose out there all the time with Quick.
No, I mean that's true and that's fair. The only thing is defensively. Like, is Rose the same defensively as Peyton? And that's the only thing I'm not sure about. And
But
we need.
I hear you, but are we really seeing Elfrid Payton be a defensive stopper out there for us?
I never have anything good to say about Peyton. Like, I hate everything about his game, so I don't know. I don't have that answer, but
Oh, what happened?
apparently, what happened?
My screen went black. Oh, I'm back. I don't know. Max go crazy, bro. What were you saying now?
Oh, Bucks are taking care of business. They are 57.
I just saw that from D. Burr. Thanks for keeping us up to date on the game.
Word. Lewis, yeah. Lewis had a question. He said, "What are your thoughts on Otto Porter potentially?"
Honestly, I haven't watched much of Otto Porter recently. I know coming in, I wasn't really the biggest fan of his, and he had an atrocious contract. But I think he's a free agent now, right? I don't think
it would.
Yeah, Lewis. Yeah. Lewis, let us know. Is he a free agent? I don't think he's with a team right now, but I don't know. I really don't know what he can contribute to really give a definitive statement on that.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? There's one player who, like, normally I hate his game.
Who?
Like, I hate the game, but he's good. But I was thinking, if this player in the offseason could somehow get a buyout, he would actually be perfect for the Knicks. And that player is Al Horford. If he could somehow get a buyout, because obviously he's not even playing in OKC right now. They just have the young guys playing. So if he can I feel like that would be a perfect pickup for us because he's a big man who can stretch the floor. He can knock down threes, and he won't clog the paint up for RJ and Randle. I think it would actually work.
I mean, they were linked. You got to run up.
We can. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Hold that thought.
Don't worry. So yeah, I'll let you guys know what my thoughts on that is when Inf comes back. So let's just jump right back into the box score real quick. So yeah, Alec Burks. Alec Burks has come back and he's kind of picked up where he left off. Went out there, 14 points, 5 of 12 from the field, 5 assists, and he's really becoming that closer opposite of Julius Randle, because Julius Randle went out there, killed to start the overtime, but then Alec Burks came in towards the end, and he was really like the solidifying force. We normally see Derrick Rose in that role with Burks out, but now with Burks back in, we saw Burks kind of handle his job out there as the facilitator. And Quickly is starting to pick things up as well. You know, as this season is starting to dwindle down, he's come back from that injury and he's looked pretty good. 13 points, 2 of 6 from 3. You would have hoped he would have shot a little better from 3-point, but 4 of 8 from the field. I mean, I've liked what he's done for his rookie season. This is great, phenomenal for where we picked him up in the NBA draft. What's up, Inf?
What's good? So yeah, what are your thoughts on Al Horford?
I mean, I like his skill set, and it's definitely a skill set that could work for us. I just don't know if Al Horford is the one. If we can get him on a cheap contract, you know, he'll be off of a buyout, so it's definitely a possibility. I just don't know where we'd fit him in the lineup if we're able to bring back Noel and we're able to bring back, or we still have Mitch and extend Mitch. Would he be the third big off the bench? like Taj Gibson when we're fully healthy?
Oh, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I would have him start. Like, this is me thinking we're not going to get Noel back just because he's probably going to demand more money. Whereas, like you mentioned, if Al Horford can get a buyout, chances are his next contract won't be that much because he hasn't even played in a while. And I would put him over. I would start him, and Mitch could come off the bench until he is fully healthy and improves his game.
Here we go, Ev. You would really start Al Horford over Mitch?
Come on, you wouldn't?
No.
Al Horford is starting on more than half the NBA teams right now if he was on them.
Mitchell Robinson's probably starting on half the NBA teams. Mitchell Robinson's not terrible. I think if you're looking for a defensive-minded center like a Rudy Gobert, I think Mitch is in that perfect mold. So he's not going to be the offensive talent that you're going to get from Al Horford, but he's still going to impact the game immensely just being a disruptive force in the middle. And also when you factor in the age, Al Horford, how old is Al Horford? What is it, like 35, 36?
Nah, he ain't that old. He can't be.
You think so? He's got to be. He's got to be up there in age. I think if we're bringing in players, we should be bringing in players that kind of fit the same trajectory or they're in the same age level or age realm as our current players. Like even our veterans aren't extremely old. I won't say extremely old, but older in NBA years. You've got Taj Gibson who's up there. I think he's like 38. But then you look at Bullock. Bullock is still around 30. Say it again.
Taj is 35. Al Horford's 34.
34?
Yeah.
Dang, I gave Taj Gibson like 2 years on life.
Wow.
Yo, that's hilarious. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, let's get some veterans that are in the mid-20s, maybe early 30s. I don't know if I would do Horford. He does have a good skill set. I would rather draft a big with Al Horford's skill set than go and spend the money to bring him in because he's going to have suitors. I just don't know if we're the right fit for him. You feel me?
No, I feel you, but at this point in his career, I'm telling you, I think he's going to be one of them veteran minimums.
Fox said he's 34. Thanks, Foxy, for the heads up.
Nah, he's 34, going to be 35 in June.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he'd be a good pickup for us. Like I said, because what we need is a big who can stretch the floor.
Definitely. I won't argue with you there. My only argument might be just the player you would pick to do that.
I mean, I don't know. He ain't injury prone. He ain't because like another player who would be good if they weren't injury prone is Kevin Love. Clearly a big man who can stretch the floor. His three is crazy.
They had a report linking him to us. I'm like, we don't need Kevin Love. You saw that nonsense he did where he just gave the other team the ball in the out of bound play.
Yeah, like I mean, mind you, no, I don't even feel bad for him because after LeBron left, he decided to still sign a extension because he wanted the money. So. Like that, you made that choice. So I don't feel bad for you.
Facts. He's like there are some bigs that do have the skill sets, but I think a lot of those players either have atrocious contracts or they're just kind of up there in age. So I'd rather draft a stretch big as opposed to go out there and signing one.
Gotcha.
Also, go ahead, Inf.
No, what happened?
I was just gonna say something about. I was wondering when we're gonna get Luca.
Oh yeah, word. I mean, because we signed him. Like I was expecting him to at least be on the bench some of these games.
Yeah, because if you look at some of the other players, they're here. I think one of them is Gabriel Deck is one of them. Baku, he's pulled up. Well, he pulled up earlier in the season, so he don't really count. But I thought he would at least been here on the bench, clapping, cheering.
Yeah.
So with him still not being here, he's definitely not going to be an option in the playoffs, which is what Tibbs said. He called him a summer thing. I don't really know. That's not a ringing endorsement. Yeah, he's a summer thing. I'm like, okay. The last time he spoke about players like that, he was talking about Alfred he was talking about Frank Nitti and DSJ, and they never really showed the court this season. So I don't know what that means.
Right. Yeah, I'm so glad that we made that Dennis Smith Jr. trade. I'm just saying that worked out for us. And Locks of Judah, let me just confirm. I'm talking about if Kevin Love is healthy, his skill set would work with the Knicks right now.
He said, I'm about to log off.
Yeah, he's a big man who can rebound and knock down threes, so his spacing wouldn't mess with what Randle's doing or with what RJ does. That's what I meant. I didn't mean him like actual Kevin Love coming. He's like a walking glass bone person. You see a picture of an injury and he'll get hurt himself. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's almost like what's his name? Chandler Parsons. Remember when Chandler Parsons got the bag and just never really could do anything?
He ain't play after that, basically. That was just ridiculous.
Shout out to Delano Still. What's good, bro? How's everything with you? Thank you for pulling up to the chat. Also, chat, if you can do us a solid, smash that like button. Be greatly appreciated. If you aren't subscribed to the channel yet, now would be a great time to do so.
Yeah, salute May 4th.
Hey, May 4th pulled up.
Yep.
May 4th is another one that don't like Mitch. He's in the same band camp as you.
Because we don't need him right now. You can't tell. The Knicks went on a 9-game win streak without him. You can't tell me that we need him. Like, I'm just saying.
I mean, D. Burr got me working on a video, and the numbers are a little bit different. If you look at the numbers, I would say they kind of lean towards Mitch. I won't say too much. I was supposed to binge drop the video. I apologize, D. Burr. But right when I was getting ready to release it, Noel got hurt, and I'm like, that's kind of a weird question to bring up when we don't even know if Noel's going to be healthy for the rest of the season. So it's still in the works. I just had to change the stats. D. Burr, I ain't forget about you, bro. It just wasn't the perfect timing. Because, I hit him up, and I was like, yeah, I'm about to drop it, and I wasn't able to drop it. So I just wanted to be transparent with him. He the homie.
Got you. No, that makes sense.
Derrick the homie as well. May 4th be bugging too.
And Chef, that's correct. Luca, he's tied up with immigration papers and all this COVID stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully, maybe that's what he meant by summer thing. Like by the summer, it'll all be situated.
And plus, it might have been a little too much for Luca. I mean, Luca's got a lot of time playing professional ball, but to kind of throw him into the NBA game in the most intense atmosphere, it's kind of a lot. You know what I mean? That's a lot. Even though Luca, he does have some he has a decent amount of experience, and he's also played FIBA with his country, Argentina. They played against France, and they beat Frank Nitti and them. Frank Nitti, Batum, Gobert, all of them. They beat them.
Oh. And plus you also got to realize that NBA rules are a little different than overseas. So he does have to get used to the game. And I had once I saw what the contract was, the fact that it was a multi-year contract, I'm like, all right, he's probably not going to play this year because, which is why they signed him to a multi-year. That way he has time to actually play with us as opposed to getting thrown in, like a 1-year deal and it's like he's going to play or he's not. So
I think they tried to do it where they knew he wasn't going to play this year, but they signed him this year just so they can get over the salary cap floor. So they gave him some money to kind of entice him to come over. They also had to play, I think it was $2 million to have his team release him. And then, so they're definitely invested in him. So he will get an opportunity. I just want to see where it'll go because he looks dope. Yo, I got a video with him hitting the sham guard on somebody. I was like, whoa, he's out there wilding. Yeah, pulled the sham guard out. I was like, all right, let's see what he can do in the league. Say it again.
I said good. He has some moves.
May 4th came back at Derrick and said, you don't know my body of work.
Oh, man. Son.
Man, chat always funny.
And Luca, he's a point guard, right?
He's a point guard, but they list him as a combo guard. He used to play with Facu for the Argentinian national team, I believe. And what Facu said is they used to alternate where one was running point and the other was playing off ball, and then they would switch. So he has experience doing both.
Got you. Because the way I see it right now, for next season, we have him, we have Quickly, and it's basically a guarantee that we have Derrick Rose as well. I don't see him going anywhere that Tibbs isn't.
Facts.
So, are we gonna target a point guard in the offseason? What happens if we can somehow entice Lonzo to want to come here? Like, what happens? Do we then move Luca to the 2 permanently, or because Lonzo isn't a 2? Like, he's not a 2 guard. He is a straight up point guard.
And it looks like our odds might be increasing too to securing Lonzo because there was news circulating that the Chicago Bulls might look to bring in. It's a weird pairing, but they're looking at to potentially bring in Bradley Beal. And I'm like, bring in Bradley Beal and pair him with Zach LaVine. I'm like, okay, that's what you want to do. So if the Bulls do go that route, that's going to take out a potential suitor for Lonzo Ball, and that might bring his price down. So if his price comes down, yes, New Orleans may match, but now Lonzo might be an even a better option if we can get him at a lower price figure or cap figure.
I always wondered about these things. Like, if I'm a restricted free agent, and let's say I don't want to be on my team anymore, I would just tell the other teams I want to sign a 1-year deal. That way, when my team matches, I'm only under contract for 1 year, and then I'm a unrestricted free agent.
See, the problem with that is that's betting on yourself, and when you bet on yourself like that, if there were an injury, you're unable to recoup a lot of that missed money. So that's why you don't see it too much. But they said KP was going to threaten us with that when he was here. Sign a 1-year deal and then get out of here. It's kind of the same thing Mitch can do. Mitch can't sign another deal, but if Mitch doesn't negotiate an extension now, then next season he's going to be unrestricted. I think that's how his contract is broken down.
That's fair.
Yeah, but it'll be a fun off season, especially depending on how we look in the playoffs. How we look in the playoffs is really going to determine the moves we make. Because if we are pretty competitive with the roster we have now, and we can bring back Burks, I don't know about bro. I guess let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we can bring back everybody on reasonable contracts, maybe slight raises, and still have enough cap space to bring in maybe 2 more pieces that can be inserted into the starting lineup, whether that be at the 3 and the 1. I think, we'll be very dangerous next season. This offseason could just expedite kind of the rebuild process as long as we don't do anything crazy.
No, absolutely. Because we're finally in a place where we are a team that people want to play for because we're finally doing good. So we wouldn't have to give up crazy things like draft picks because we wouldn't be looking for players via trade. It's just, listen, we're a good team now, so either y'all want to come and play for us and win in New York, or y'all want to stay in Sacramento and lose games but get paid.
What you call it? Locks of Judah says Luke is going to be in the G League, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't think he would leave, playing over in Europe to come and play in the G League. I think he's definitely going to be on the roster, and with the fact that his salary is non-guaranteed, if they feel like he's not going to be with us long term, they'll probably either just trade him or cut him.
Yeah.
Also, let's see. Wusu 10 is saying, you guys think Frankie Smokes will be available in the playoffs? Who, Frank Nitty? He hurt?
Yeah, will be valuable in the playoffs.
I'm blind, bro.
I mean, honestly, he'd probably be valuable in the first round against Trae Young. Like, because if there's one thing Frank can do, it's play defense. So I don't know, man. I mean, because I hate Trae Young's game. I hate the way that he tries to draw fouls, and so if Frank can find the answer to that, to not foul him basically, then sure, he could definitely be valuable for that first round.
Yeah, I like. See, if I were going to go the route where I would say we're going to take Peyton out of the starting lineup, Frank would be someone that would see an increase in minutes. Frank is someone you can probably elevate into that second unit to work with IQ, and then you would have Alec Burks be the facilitator, because I think Frank is just not really there yet as a legit point guard. So if that's something, Tibbs decides he wants to do, take Peyton out of the starting lineup and elevate Rose, I think Frank Nitty would definitely be extremely valuable. Outside of that, if we're going with the same rotations, then I'm not expecting to see much from Frank. But if there were, God forbid, an injury, I think Frank, as we all know, is going to be the first one off the bench to really step up and get big minutes. Also, just want to say shout out to Adam Gatson. Love the channel. Thank you. Appreciate it. Vibes TV, Knicks Fan TV, Into the Knicks Verse, run by my man George. Definitely got to check him out. Man, run by my man Ron. Knicks Media, definitely got to check them out as well. And JD, we already talked to him earlier in the stream, JD Sports Talk. Make sure you follow all those channels producing high quality content from high quality people. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Frankie braids. Oh, Frankie got braids? I know he got the headband. I can't really, I I ain't really see him have braids though. He had braids today?
I ain't see. I mean, did he even touch the court today?
Yeah,
'Cause
he
that's
played. Like I said in the beginning, he's the one that kind of held us down.
he played 17 seconds. Don't tell me he played.
Bro, he did us solid. Those 14 seconds helped us go to overtime because at the end of the game, there was poor communication. I think it was Noel and Burks. I might be wrong. It could have been Gibson and Burks, but they were poor communication, and they left Devontae Graham wide open. And I'm watching, and I'm like, yo, somebody go get him. But luckily, Frank was able to rotate, close out, and at least put a hand in his face. So those 14 seconds, even though they were 14 seconds, they were he did what he had to do in them 14 seconds because Devontae Graham bricked what was going to be a wide open 3-point shot. So shout out to him for them 14 seconds. I mean, in them 14 seconds, I didn't see braids, but you know.
Man, but the thing is that in those 17 seconds, he had no stats except one,
What,
which is
turnover?
a -2 on his plus minus. Meaning, had he not played, maybe we would have actually not let the team score during those 2 minutes.
No, that wasn't Frankie fault.
I'm joking.
Nah, Frank, he closed out, and I think Tibbs in the after the game is gonna look at the film, and I think he's gonna shout out Frank Nettie because that was a good job for him rotating over and stopping that open three.
No, yeah, good for him. I mean, but I don't think he wants any playoff minutes though. And then now, Woosamar said it's crazy to think that both Bridges from the Suns and the Hornets are coming along, and we got knocked.
Yo, whoever said that was in my head earlier today because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, damn, Miles Bridges went out there, Mikal Bridges went out there and did his thing for the Suns, and then Miles Bridges went out there tonight and did his thing. You know, luckily we won, but those are two players we could have had over Knox. And then you throw in MPJ, it's like, what?
No, yeah, that I don't even like to think about MPJ because screaming for the Knicks to choose him with that 8th pick because I'm like, they were saying, oh, but he's gonna miss the whole first year. I'm doing nothing this year. Take him, and let him chill on the bench this year. Who cares?
Yep.
And now he's starting on one of the top teams in the West.
I was a little nervous when it came to him too, even when he came back. Because if you look at some of the earlier footage from his games, like when he first returned from injury, he still had a contraption under his foot because he had what they call like dead foot, where your foot just limp and you can't keep it straight. So I was just waiting to see if that was gonna, be something that he could work through and fix. And it seems like it has, because those were some of the issues where I understood why the Knicks ain't want to go after him. He had the back injuries, and then he's gonna miss a whole year. And honestly, people aren't necessarily patient with a team when you're kind of as dysfunctional as we were. So I kind of understand why the Knicks wouldn't go after MPJ, but then you go after another project that probably has the same timeline to really contribute to the team. That's what didn't make any sense. If you're gonna do something, go get a Mikal Bridges, who's a little bit more NBA ready with an NBA body and can play solid defense day one.
No, I agree. I mean, and then Wusamar is saying, why isn't Knox in the rotation? Because of his lack of D. I really don't get it. Lewis says that Knox is only good for 3-point shooting, and even that's not great. But I mean, honestly, the reason why Knox isn't getting no play time, apparently, from what reports say, he doesn't really practice. He doesn't participate in practice, or he doesn't play hard enough in practice. So Tibbs doesn't play him, and that's why. Which, I mean, I get it. It's like, if you're not going to show me what you can do in practice, I ain't going to trust you on the court when the game actually matters. So apparently it's because of Knox. Either whatever he's doing in practice isn't impressive, or I don't know, he's just not hungry enough.
Yeah, sometimes I wish practices were like open. Like not live, you ain't got to live stream the practice, but let's see some practice film. Well, that's kind of, you can't really do that because then other teams. But in football, they have a certain portion of the practice that's open to the media, and then they send everybody out. Why we can't get some of that with the NBA and let us see see why Kevin Knox isn't starting, even though that's something where you can start seeing people kind of harass him and all that. But I want to see why Kevin Knox is not out there on the court, because when he's out there on the court, he's doing a bunch of nothing. But I mean, are there moments where he's at least showing what he can do? So at least if we can see what he's able to do, then we can say, all right, let's fit him in this role. because he's knocking down the corner threes, but it's just outside of that, he's really not giving us much.
Yeah, he's not. He's most of the time he's out there just running and not playing defense. I mean, I don't know. Mind you, and I have a feeling that if he's traded, he's gonna flourish in any other team that he goes to, and then we're gonna be like, damn, like this is who we thought we drafted. But and yeah, everybody's saying like Knox be playing Fortnite on Xbox. He's still a kid. I mean, granted, we drafted him when he was like 17 or 18, but he's still a kid. He's like 20 something now.
I think he might be 20.
Yeah, the 20 or 21.
Yeah. Also, salute to Quiet Money. Thank you for pulling up to the live stream. Support is greatly appreciated, bro.
And then let's talk about this year's draft pick, Obi Toppin. He sold the court today too. Shot 100% from the field.
It was one bucket though.
Yeah, 1-3.
Yeah.
That was it. But he's still 100. He made it. He took a shot, made the shot. Like, let's go.
I want Luca to hurry up and come here because I think if Luca gets minutes, he's someone that can unlock a Obi and unlock a Mitch. Because if you look at him, I don't want to say too much because I got a video coming, but if you look at him operating in pick and rolls, I think the way he orchestrates our offense is definitely going to be beneficial for Obi and Mitchell Robinson next season. It's all about, is he going to be able to put his abilities to work here in the NBA? But I'm excited for Obi just off what I've seen from Luca.
No, I agree, and hopefully next season is. I can't even say that because it's hard to say that Obi's going to get minutes as long as we got Julius Randle playing the way that he's playing. If we re-sign Julius Randle, like, is Obi ever going to get minutes? And he doesn't have that much time to develop. He's 22. He's one of the oldest young kids on our team.
Yeah. What you call it, T-Bone is saying that we were Monday morning quarterback. And I mean, we were saying a lot of these things because I've known, if how long I know you, 08, 07, something like that. Yeah. And these are conversations we have had about the Knicks. We just have the camera on us now. But we were talking about the same thing when we drafted MPJ. I mean, not MPJ. When we should have drafted MPJ. We were having similar conversations. I think all over the Knicks community, we were having these same conversations because before the draft they had linked us to Knox, and it was kind of like, all right,
who? That's
because I thought the argument initially was one of the bridges or take a risk on MPJ. So when they threw the curveball in at Knox, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, but if they're supposed to know more basketball than me, maybe they know something. I was a proponent of one of the bridges. I'm not gonna say I was here for MPJ because as someone like that's been in the medical field, that when you have back injuries, you really don't know which way things will go. So I can't lie and say I was for MPJ. I was definitely for more so one of the bridges, and that's why I had him on my fantasy team, the dynasty, and I traded him this season. Foolish.
I was going to ask you what that meant, Monday night quarterback.
Monday morning quarterback. And it's because football games are on Sunday, and then on Monday, everybody's already seen the game, and now they want to give their analysis because they already know the outcome. That's my interpretation of Monday morning quarterbacking.
Oh,
2020. I mean, hindsight is 2020, pretty much.
Gotcha. Oh, but that's not what this is. I wanted MPJ since before draft night. I'm like, he's clearly in my opinion, he was the best talent out of that entire draft class. He just had some injury problems, and because we weren't going to do anything that year, I'm like, listen, let's take the risk. Let him sit on the bench, let him heal. But it is what it is. And T-Bone also said, didn't you see a whole season of Kevin Knox starting? Exactly, we did see that, and he did nothing. He was beyond subpar.
Yeah, I came into this season wanting him to crack the starting rotation because at the end of the day, Bullock has been phenomenal. I gotta stop exaggerating. I'd be too hyped. Bullock has been pretty good this season. He's higher in his career averages, I think, in like points and also, if I'm not mistaken, I think rebounds. So he's having a phenomenal season, and he is at the end of the day still a journeyman 3. So we definitely could still use an upgrade over him. So I was hoping Knox would develop into that, because if Knox has all his tools that he's shown us and kind of been consistent with them, I think we would have been an even more dangerous team because Knox is a versatile three that can shoot. At times, we've seen him put it on the floor. Like, remember when he had that 30-point outburst against the 76ers? Like, if he was able to do something like that, maybe 2 or 3 once or twice a month, you'd be like, all right, this is fire. We can put him in the starting lineup and let him hold it down. But he hasn't shown us much of anything this year, last year, since he got here, pretty much.
Yeah, he's been unimpressive. I think he had maybe one good game in Summer League, and that was it.
Yeah, the game against the 76ers. I think he had like 33 points or 32 points. That got me hyped because I'm like, all right, he's doing his thing. Let's see if he can continue to perform like this. And then it was just...
Yeah, he's just like, that was clearly that one game. You know, like how when you on the court, there's always those certain games where you just hot, like everything just goes in.
Mm-hmm.
That was that. He just had that game. That wasn't that wasn't his natural skill. That was just one of those days.
What you call
clearly, because that happened again.
Wusu Martin is saying Bullock is mad underrated, yo. I don't know about underrated. He's been solid. He's been solid. He has games where he disappears, but then he also has games where he gets us off on hot starts. I think that's my favorite part about Reggie Bullock is, you know, a lot of these games he's getting us off onto good starts, and I think that's very important for this team. If this team gets into holes that are too big, you know, it's hard for us to dig ourselves out of them. So the fact that he's been on point to start first quarter so far,
yeah,
been crucial to our success. Other than that, I don't know about, you know, underrated.
No, I mean, because there's been a lot of times where he has been terrible. There's been games where he's just done. I mean, honestly, being honest, there's been games where his plus minus was like -20, and on those are games that we've won. You know, so he's okay. He's doing exactly what we're paying him to do because his contract isn't that much. You know, he's definitely being serviceable. Did you see Piper's comment? Trade Obi, Knox, Frank, and those 2 draft picks this year and the first next year for Dame and Cantor.
For who?
I swear, for Damian Lillard and Cantor. I swear, if the Knicks did that, I would rip this jersey in half. Just straight strength rip. That is an awful trade, and I would never trust you to be a GM of any team. That is disgusting.
I don't know if people say we should trade Frank. I don't know if we can trade Frank because it would have to be a sign-and trade because we no longer have the rights to Frank after this season. And I don't like Cantor. Cantor's not... Let me not say I don't like Cantor. Cantor's not great defensively. He gives you a lot of pluses. He can score, and he can also grab you some rebounds. But defensively, he's not going to do much for us.
No, any center going against us knows that that's an easy bucket. They know they're alone down there if they see Cantor.
Sports Vibes TV, you covering the playoffs or doing any playoff preview video? Is that for the Knicks specifically? Yeah, I'm definitely going to cover the Knicks in the playoffs. Are you talking general NBA? I mean, if you guys want me to cover the general NBA, I'll definitely do it. I just didn't know if you guys wanted that kind of content. But if you want me to do more general NBA videos, I can definitely upload those for you. Let's see. Chat moving kind of.
No, yeah. AT Leon said, is playoff Randle ready? I'm sure he is.
Playoff Randle? We have to see if there is a playoff Randle. This ain't his first time in the playoffs. We don't know how he's going to perform. I'm not saying he's not going to do good, but this will be a barometer heading into the offseason as to how much we should really be looking to pay Julius Randle. Let's see how he can carry this team in the playoffs, and then we can go into a contract extension talks this offseason and say, hey, you know, you said you wanted to be here. He said he wanted to retire a Knick. You know, Kyrie said he wanted to retire a Celtic, and we saw what that went. So
yeah, I mean, he's different. He's just a weirdo. So Julius Randle's son is a Knicks fan, so
that's another thing. You see how his son responds to the Knicks. I also heard that Julius Randle spends his off seasons in New York. He trains in New York. So everything kind of points in our favor. He said he wants to retire a Knick, then he should have no problem going into contract negotiations. You can max him to a contract extension this offseason. It won't be a legit max deal. It'll be a max where he can get 20% a raise, and then he'll get 8% raises thereafter. That I'm cool with. But to go out there and give him 36 mil and then 8% raises thereafter in total of Like it's like a $200 million contract. I don't know if Julius Randle is a $200 million player.
Nah, I don't think he is. And in all honesty, I'm hoping he pulls like a Levine. Did you see what Levine said? How he's willing to take like a
Less.
slight pay cut. Yeah, that way the Bulls can build a legitimate contender. So hopefully Randall has that same similar mindset where like he knows it. Maybe he can get a crazy max deal, but he takes a lot of money, but much more reasonably. That way the Knicks can add another piece that we're missing. Because if you want to retire on this team, then at least make sure that this team is a team you could win a chip with.
Exactly. And that's the important part, bro. You got to make sure that the team still has the assets or the cap space to build around you. I mean, yes, this sport is not like baseball or football where you can have a singular talent kind of carry you. It's just that singular talent can only carry you so far, and you very rarely see that talent do that from the four position. I think the last time we probably saw that was Dirk kind of carry a
Yeah.
team. And Julius Randle has been phenomenal, but I wouldn't put Julius Randle on that MVP Dirk level. Not
Nah,
yet, at
Dirk-
least. Hopefully he can become that. And this is also a different NBA.
I mean, honestly, if Randall develops a legitimate 3-point shot, like on some, because those games where he hits his threes, he's basically unstoppable because he can blow past anybody at his size and position. So if he gets that legit 3-point shot, then yeah, he could definitely be up there in MVP talks because he'll be super hard to guard defensively.
And just to Adam Gatson, yeah, definitely gonna do a Knicks playoff preview. That's facts. Once we find out who our who our opponent is gonna be, then I'll definitely break down and see what we have to do in order to win, and I'll give you my playoff predictions. And if you want to join me for one of those, we could do an edited. All right, that'd be cool. Yeah,
man, we in there.
right.
And then Piper said, "Who in free agency should they go for?" And also salute T-Bone. I respect it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
What happened?
You'll see.
Oh, I'm
Clearly, my chat is much faster than yours.
Yeah, your chat moving a lot faster.
And as for Piper's question on who the Knicks should go for in the offseason, like right now, I mean, we don't need a crazy piece. I feel like we should still go for Lonzo. I feel like he's a legitimate point guard. He won't be a max contract player, and he can knock down threes and space the floor for us. I feel like right now we already have our star, who's Julius Randle. So we just need pieces that fit well with his play. So Alonzo for sure. And then, I mean, we got to see what other just legitimate shooters are out there. Like maybe a JJ Redick type player, not specifically him, but
where did they send him? Dallas, right? He's over with the Mavs.
Yeah, but I think his contract is up after this season, so he'll be a free agent. So potentially,
May 4th is over here wilding. You hear him? He say, "Stop fronting on Alfred the Great."
No, he OD wilding.
Yeah, he's wilding.
Me and May 4th had like a lot of things in common, and clearly we don't. Peyton and Peyton probably gonna be out of the league after the season.
You wildin', bro. He's just not a fit for this team.
Nah, he probably gonna be out of the league after the season.
Also, just want to say shout out to T-Bone for the super chat. Greatly appreciated, bro. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let's see.
Also, you just saw it?
Nah, I saw it before, but I didn't want to cut you off while you were having another discussion on a different comment. So I said, let you finish, and then I'll go to the super chat.
Gotcha. But yeah, that's why I shouted out T-Bone. I respect it.
Yeah. Assassins Rose. What's the score? What's the score right now? Because if there are playoff implications for the game tomorrow, and if you want to stream the game,
or we could do that. But right now it's 80-63. The Bucks are destroying them. I think the Bucks are saying, "Listen, it don't matter who we play in the first round. It's a dub."
Yeah. So if there's some real playoff implications tomorrow, it's gonna be an event. I wish I had tickets.
Yeah, it's just annoying because I mean we have the only. I mean, I'm not even gonna say it's a challenge because the Celtics are just weird this season, and that sucks for Jaylen Brown, son. That hurt my heart because I remember what I said earlier in one of our other chats. If we could get a like Jaylen Brown on our team, I feel like he'd be the perfect starter for us. Like and then that happened, season and then injury right before the playoffs. Like that hurt, man.
Delano
But yeah, like
Spurs asking me name a team he does fit on. Who? Elf?
yeah, I can't do that. But yeah, we technically got the most difficult game because we play the Celtics tomorrow. The Hawks play the Rockets, and the Heat play the Pistons. Like, like what? Why can't we play the Rockets or the Pistons? Even though the
Yeah.
Rockets beat the Clippers.
But I mean, the game we're playing, the Celtics are gonna be without Jaylen Brown, like you said, and we should have a. And they're not playing for anything.
Oh yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
They
they're
should.
stuck at what? I think either 8 or 7. I can't remember.
No, they clinched the play-in game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're not going hard. So if the Bucks come out victorious, the Knicks should go. We should punch them in the mouth for like 3 quarters, and then that way Tibbs can rest everybody in the fourth, and we good to go. And then I could be in here celebrating like this, because that means we have a legitimate shot at getting to the second round. I low key wish we could have bumped into the. Yeah, we're gonna miss the Nets. I wanted to see the Nets in the second round.
Yeah, we would. Cause wait, would we?
Say it again. Say what again?
No. Oh yeah. No, no. Who would we play?
What are you saying?
We would go against. We would go against Philly in the second round.
If we're the 4, yes, because Philly's number 1. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Damn, that's the one team I wouldn't want to go against, man.
I wanted to go against the Nets in the second round. I think even though they're more talented than us, I won't call them soft. I just think we could beat them down in a playoff round. Probably we won't win, but we could probably take a 6, maybe.
Yeah, just because at the end of the day, they haven't that team has not played together all season. Like they don't have their rotation set, they don't have their defensive sets. There's certain times where they just break down defensively.
Mm-hmm.
There's even been times where they just can't find the basket because none of them know which one should go off while the other. Like they haven't looked great. So
yeah, the thing I think the key to them is going to be Harden, because you already know Durant going to get his buckets. You know Kyrie has the ability to get a bucket. It's going to be on Harden to get everybody else involved and make sure everybody else is engaged throughout the game, so that at least they're playing defense.
Yeah. And JD, no, I still don't want Mitch back, even if we're going against Embiid. Give me Iguodala. No, let me stop.
Hey, you seen how Iggy been doing over with Orlando? Iggy been balling.
He's on Orlando now?
Yeah, people were calling me crazy when I was like, we should give Iggy a shot, let Iggy play. And everybody was like, he looks terrible sometimes when he plays, or he's only doing good in the G League. He's doing all right on the Magic. I mean, it's a team that got nothing to play for, but.
Oh, wait, you're talking about
Brazdekis.
Oh, damn. I thought you were talking about Iguodala.
No. I was talking about our Iggy. Well, our former Iggy.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, good for him. Let him get some playing time.
If I don't care.
No, because I mean, he was the MVP of like a Euro League when the Knicks signed him. So I'm like, oh, we got somebody legitimate, and then he just never got minutes.
Fun fact:
even
Luca was an MVP too of a Euro. I forgot which one it was, but he won the same MVP that Juan Carlos Navarro won. You know Juan Carlos Navarro?
No, I don't.
He's a killer for España, Spain, their national team. Yeah, he's in 2K. He's on the Spain national team. He used to give Team USA buckets. Everybody talk about the Gasol brothers and Ricky Rubio, but the real killer on that team was Juan Carlos Navarro. He was a walking bucket.
Oh, he just never wanted to come to the A?
He came. I forgot what year he came. He came in like 08 or like maybe it was earlier than that. I can't remember the year, but it didn't work out for him. He felt more comfortable over in Spain, so he went back. But he was a walking bucket. I liked his game.
Nice. May 4 said Thibs don't know talent.
Oh, let me answer this question first. We ain't never answered this question.
Which one?
The one on screen. It's been up here, but we just overlooked it. My bad. You think Tibbs like having a point forward with Randle? Or if we get a good point guard this offseason, Randle's playmaking will go down? I think I think the offense won't be run through Randle as much, but I think Randle's still going to be looked at as a key playmaker on this team because a lot of the players on this team kind of eat off Randle getting into the paint and then kicking it out to open shooters. So I think that's still going to be something that they work or that they use or incorporate. But you're probably going to see Julius Randle a little bit more in some pick and roll, pick and pop situations. I think that's the biggest shift you'll probably see where Julius Randle isn't a focal point, but more so somebody that's going to get lost on lost out there on the court and find open looks.
No, I mean, I think like down the stretch is probably when we'll see more Randle playing point forward if we get a legitimate point guard. But I mean, he shouldn't have to do all of that throughout the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fair to lighten the load and get a legitimate point guard. Did you see that the reports of Kyle Lowry being tied to the Knicks now?
You saw that from my channel?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I saw that Bleacher Report.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you think about Lowry?
He's weird because I feel like he's mad regular, but he's nice, but he's not. Like, I don't know. He's weird. He's a weird player. Because it's like I think in my mind, I'm like, I've seen him knock down threes. Like, I think he can shoot threes, but I can't confidently say that he can. Like, I don't know. He's weird. He's a weird player.
I mean, I hear you on that one. Citizen X threw me off with the Kobe comment, man. Shout out to Kobe. Got into the Hall of Fame today. Sucks he couldn't be here. Favorite player of all time. Situation with him, sad. I mean, to this day, it still just killed me. But at least he's getting honored. That's the only thing. I would have loved to see his Hall of Fame speech because Kobe was good with speeches. Kobe was good with his words. But
man, he's a smart individual.
Yeah. But on a lighter note, let's see. Any other question you see him?
Well, we just got another update that Miami's coming back on the Bucks now. Now it's only a 12-point game.
Well, they put Jimmy Butler in. They got nervous. That's crazy.
Said Hawks will either sweep or beat the Knicks 4-1. They just had bad matchup. They're just a bad matchup for us. But didn't we beat them?
Yeah.
Like we have the tiebreak over them.
Yeah. I mean, the only difference is the coaching change. Now they got Nate McMillan, I believe. What was his name? Lloyd Pierce? I think it was the previous coach.
I don't know. And don't they got like no playoff experience at all on that team? Derrick Rose gonna have a field day.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Because don't they say that the playoff really comes down more to the coach than anything? We got Tibbs, man. We out here. Tibbs brought the Timberwolves to the playoffs. And then he left, and they haven't been there since. Haven't even been close.
Jimmy Butler took the Timberwolves to the playoffs.
Jimmy Butler and Thibodeau with D Rose took the Timberwolves to the playoffs.
If that's the story you want to go with, but
it is because I mean, look at the talent on that team right now, and yet they're the worst in the West. They're the worst in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
I hear you. Let me see. It's probably the same exact thing. We swept the Hawks this year. Snapple fact. Nate been doing a good job since he took over, but the Knicks have more grit and, in my opinion, are better prepared for the playoffs. Gibson, Snapple fact. The way we play defense and the way we get physical, I think is definitely something that other teams don't want to deal with, especially in the first round. Like, you're in for a marathon. It's not going to be a sprint. And in the first leg of the race, you got people beating you over the head. Yeah.
Lewis said Hawks roster is much more talented. Mm-hmm. One thing that the NBA will show you, no matter how talented your roster is, because I mean, look at the Pelicans. They have one of the most talented rosters in the league, and they're not even in the play-in right now.
Yo, if we got 140 in chat.
Oh no, yeah, they won.
I didn't. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys, smash that like button if you're new.
Yeah,
subscribe. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Reach like 160 or something like that.
Did it?
Talent isn't everything. Listen, because there's a lot of teams that have way more talent than the Knicks, and we beat them just because we play defense for 48 minutes. and not a lot of teams can deal with that. So great defense against the Hawks. I don't see why we won't win.
Yeah, if you look at the way the teams are set up, I think a lot of teams are more talented than the Knicks. It's just that we have great coaching, and we have a player in Julius Randle that's able to help elevate those around him by drawing so much attention out there. And when you add that to us playing hard defensively and putting out maximum effort on defense, you're getting these kind of results where we're not a team that's elite per se, but we're in every game. And as long as we're in every game, we can allow Julius Randle or Derrick Rose to kind of take over in the final seconds to put us over the threshold.
Yeah, I mean, because look at that game against the Clippers. The Clippers definitely have way more talent than us, but we still found a way to win because we played defense that full game, and they were doubling. You saw that picture now that's everywhere with Paul George and Kawhi just double Randle. I'm like,
in the corner,
yeah. I'm just like, listen, we're finding a way to beat these teams because we're playing defense.
Citizen X is saying we need Dennis Schroeder. What do you think about Schroeder, Inf?
I think he's regular. I think he's a regular. Look at Dennis Schroeder, and I think like Reggie Jackson. Like,
bro, they look similar too. That's.
Come on. Yeah, like I think Reggie Jackson, I think Darren Collison, like
they look similar too. They all three of them. You put all three of them on the screen, I can't tell you a difference. They all look the same. They got different hairstyles. I ain't even going front.
He's just a regular player. Like I don't even consider him like a legitimate starter in the league. He's just a regular point guard.
Bro,
he'll start on some teams. He'll come off the bench on some teams.
Bro, somebody came at me because I called him a fringe starter. I'm like, he's a fringe starter. He's just, he's starting on the Lakers because they got LeBron, AD. That's all they really need is Schroeder to eat off of whatever scraps they leave. But I don't think Schroeder it. I think he's a solid player. Fringe starter, but still a solid player. I think he's more so better in like a 6-man role. And he turned down a massive deal, in my belief, from the Lakers. And if he's not accepting, I think it was like, what, 21 million a year, 22 million a year, something in that ballpark for 4 years. And if he's turning that down, imagine what he wants for us. No way.
Citizen X said Dennis is better than Lonzo. In what way? Can you specify? Like, is he a better scorer or a better point guard in general or a better pass? Like, what is he better than Lonzo in? Because I don't think he's a better shooter than Lonzo, especially after this season. He's definitely not a better passer than Lonzo. He's not a better point guard. He doesn't have better court vision. He's probably more athletic, maybe. Probably faster.
Dennis is more aggressive. Dennis is a bucket getter. Lonzo definitely a better shooter. I think Lonzo, when he's invested or engaged, I think he does a lot better playing the passing lanes. Schroeder, his defense could be inconsistent at times. I mean, there's certain areas that Schroeder's better than Lonzo. It's just for the fit of this team. I think Lonzo is a little bit more versatile in what we can do and how we can use him out there. Because if you look at the roster now, you've got a few guards where we can say they can play two different guard positions. You got IQ, he can play on or off ball. We're bringing in Luca, same thing. And then if we have Lonzo as well, there's so many, different variations that we can put out there with our guards to see what works best and what gels best. And we can literally have two-headed monsters out there where you don't know who's running the show, and then each one can work off the other. I think that kind of versatility for this team, I think, would be phenomenal. I don't think Schroeder gives us that level of versatility. Shooting is not as great, and I don't think he can orchestrate the offense in a way Lonzo can if he hits his full potential. That's an emphasis on if. And I think he will, based on how he's been, progressing.
Citizen X said, looking at the stats, Lonzo has more points and more assists. And then My Holy King said that Lonzo can't shoot. Like, have you been watching Lonzo this season?
He's gotten much better.
His shot is ridiculous. Didn't he have like 33 points shooting 8 threes? Lonzo was shooting this season.
Yeah,
Lonzo is shooting. He could shoot.
what's it called? David Marrero saying Lonzo's a better playmaker.
Yeah, and D. Burr saying Lonzo sees the court better.
Yeah, Lonzo definitely has phenomenal court vision, and he has a lot of. He's a big guard. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6". So there's a lot of size there, and I think that was going to help us out defensively because he can most likely guard both guard positions. I just like having the ability to switch things up and to have players out there that can fill multiple roles. Because then you never know how to game plan for us, and I think that's we would need a offensive guru though to really come in and kind of unlock a lot of this potential this team has, because you can see the way Tibbs runs stuff is everything defense first, and then the offense, Julius Randle figure it out. They're not really running much.
Nah, yeah, we need Chris Paul, man. We need Chris Paul. He can revive any team. I'm convinced.
Demo B saying we should go after Lonzo and DeRozan. I don't like DeRozan.
I don't either. But no, citizens, to answer your question, I want Lonzo. Like, I'm hoping that we can get Lonzo in the offseason. I feel like I can't remember the last time the Knicks had a point guard who can legitimately play the point. And there's no way we get Lonzo and it doesn't immediately impact players like Obi and even Mitch.
Yeah, I don't think when I say Lonzo, I think similar to what you're saying, it's not about his individual performance per se. It's the way he plays basketball and the way he gets others involved. And he knows when players are in the best position to kind of succeed. He's shown that numerous times in college. He hasn't been given the opportunity as much with the Pelicans because they got Zion running a similar point forward. But I think with Zion working or playing a point forward role over there, it's perfect for Lonzo to transition to the Knicks and fill a similar role. He can do catch and shoot threes, which he's shooting at a phenomenal clip. And then when Julius Randle goes to the bench and you bring in Obi, then you can transition Lonzo into that more pure point guard and see how he can facilitate and get other players involved.
Yeah. And D-Burr said Dinwiddie is his dream. Now, yeah, prior to the injury, because after the injury, I don't know. But now Dinwiddie, he's a beast. Like, he comes to work and does his job every game. Like, he was just a serious player. So hopefully he can come back after injury and still do what he got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was on the Nets this season, like healthy, coming off the bench from Kyrie, like they'd be a real like scary team to go against.
Yeah.
Let me see.
We got a Brooklyn Nets fan in the chat.
No. Let's see. Lonzo demand 20 a year. I mean, honestly, at this point, what point guard isn't?
The thing is, though, if I think the Pelicans offered him what, 11 mil, and he turned that down. So if what like the report I said at the beginning of the stream, it was that Chicago was interested in Bradley Beal. If you're able to remove Chicago from that situation, there's no other team to really bid up the price from what we're seeing right now. So if the only other offer for Lonzo was 11 mil, maybe we could probably get him for like 15, 16 if there's nobody else bidding against us.
Yeah, but the only thing that sucks about the 15 is the chances are Pelicans will then match.
They might match, but you never know because they want to bring back what's the other dude that Hart. They also want to bring back Hart. They also have to remember that they're gonna have to pay Zion eventually. They drafted Kira Lewis to kind of be the heir apparent, and they also have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So they've got other people they got to pay over there. So they might not want to pay Lonzo 15, 16. They might have allotted 11 million for Lonzo, and that's a number they don't want to go over. So if we can get him for 15, 16 and just maybe swing a second round just to get the deal done in a sign and trade, then
yeah,
I'll do it. I'll live with it.
Awesome, man. Now, Wuzamar, don't be putting that bad karma on us. He said the Knicks gonna get Bledsoe during the offseason. Yeah. That's somebody we don't need. I wouldn't even take him if he was for free. Like, we do not need no Bledsoe. That is the opposite of what we need. Man, I'll never forget when he said something about who's Terry Rozier or something like that, and then got cooked 4 games straight by Terry Rozier. Like, how do you embarrass yourself like that? Like, don't disrespect players. I'll never forget as long as I live, I'll never forget that. So
Shout out
be
to D.
embarrassed.
Burr. He's keeping us updated on the Heat game, on the Heat Bucks game, saying it's 99-81 end of the third.
All right, they got a nice little 18-point lead.
Facts. And there's also a fight tonight. So as soon as we end the stream, I'm gonna have the game on one monitor and I'm gonna have the fight on the other. Championship fight. Oliveira versus Chandler. And they're gonna have Ferguson fighting as well.
AJ said, "How about SGA? Shy Gillius
Alexander.
There's no way we can get him. Like if we could, like I would trade Knox and whoever else, like Knox, Frank, first round, and for him, like if it's for a young, obviously talented player, then yeah, let's talk about trading, first round picks and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna trade all that stuff for Dame, who's gonna be, a star for maybe a year or two, and then be subpar after that.
Facts.
Like,
oh, they over here blasting Pop Smoke, bro. New York City for you. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on. But yeah, same thing here. SGA, De'Aaron Fox, two players I would probably invest a lot of resources in if I were going to trade. And that's only because they're going to be here long term. Damian Lillard, he's a solid player, one of the best guards out here, but you're going to trade for him and you're probably only going to have him for another 3-4 years. All right, they turned it down. I might be good.
Not yet. Lillard, Lillard's nice. He's probably the second best guard right now. Well, no, probably third. But, I don't know, because it's hard. I don't know why Chris Paul's name isn't mentioned as, like, the top point guard. Because when I think of point guard, I think, like, there's no better point guard than Chris Paul right now.
Yep.
Yeah, like, he is a legitimate point guard. You can say that you can put him on any team, and that team is a playoff team simply because of his playoff skill. He elevates any team.
Yeah, JD likes to say that the point guard position is starting to evolve, and it's starting to evolve into players that are more so bucket getters, and then they feed their teammates off of the attention they draw, as opposed to putting their players in the right position like a Chris Paul would do. And I like Chris Paul. I would have been open to trading for him. It's just the fact that salary is really hard to build around. Even with all of the team-friendly deals we have now, it's just really hard to continue to build around that kind of money.
And Citizen X said CP3 is the best PG in the last 50. Exactly. Like, that's why I get so annoyed when people say, "Oh, nah, Curry is the best point guard." I'm like, nah, he's not the best point guard. He's a better player than Chris Paul, like, because he's the better offensive threat. He's a beast. He's the greatest shooter we've ever seen ever. But he's not a better point guard than Chris Paul. I feel like Chris Paul has the point guard position down packed in every facet of what being a point guard is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's a true leader. That's why he was president of the Players Union.
Yeah.
Even though the Players Union, they did a few things that kind of really only helped out the players making big money. But you know, that's for them to deal with. Shout out to Citizen X. He says, I love your channel. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting. You pull up to a lot of the live streams, and I also see you in a lot of the comment sections for the edited video. So thank you for your support. Greatly appreciated.
And to the chat, 193.
Oh yeah, we up there. Chat, we only got 64 likes. Can y'all do us a solid and get us closer to the number that we have in chat? I know everybody's not gonna like it, so we won't hit 190. But if we could get a little bit closer, it'd be greatly appreciated. Hey, I understand everybody's not gonna like my content, but as long as you respect the hard work that you and I both put into the live streams and into the work I put into the edited, that's all I really ask for. I think somebody had disliked one of my videos the other day, and I was like, "Yo, I respect the fact that you disliked the video." And then you also commented and if you're gonna dislike the video, just let me know you disliked it, why you disliked it, and then at least I can understand, and then we can have a conversation. And then
I just assume because we all have our own opinions.
Exactly.
There's Knicks who are big fans of Peyton for some reason, big fans of Mitch. It happens. Yeah. We don't agree, but we are all gonna celebrate every Knick win like that.
Facts. There's some people that just you can't be satisfied. But at the end of the day, I think that's a small minority. For the most part, the Knicks fans, we just love to see the team performing the way it's performing. Like they out there putting out for us every single night. And as a Knicks fan, I can't ask for more. Pretty much.
The Knicks, we fourth seed, like we out here, and I'm saying fourth seed because right now the Bucks out by 20.
Shout out
They're
to
by
D.
20.
Bird for the score updates.
Word.
Is it B-er or Burr? I think it's B-er.
Burr.
Burr.
Gucci man.
What happened to that boy?
And I saw a comment earlier that they said Lonzo and Randle are not enough to compete with the Nets. I mean, honestly, it's not.
It's not.
But what is? What is like? There's no legitimate way that we can compete with the Nets with any free agent that's going to be a free agent this offseason.
See, me personally, I think that's a little short-sighted because you're looking at that team, right? You're looking at Lonzo and Randle, but you're not also adding the fact that RJ is going to see some growth and development. You're going to expect Obi to get better. You're going to also expect IQ to get better. And then you have, even though you don't like Mitch, I know you're coming, I know I'm coming with it, but Mitch could definitely still. Mitch hasn't reached anywhere near his potential because defensively he's solid and he fixed his fouling problems, but offensively he has not scratched the surface on anything other than alley-oop and putbacks. So he still has a lot of potential, a lot of room for growth. So yes, Julius Randle and Lonzo, them as a pairing isn't enough to go up against Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. But the thing about the Knicks is we're a team. So if we're continuing to grow as a team, then I think that chemistry and our style of play is something that we can definitely go up against the Nets and beat them over the head.
Well, salute, Citizen. We appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the chat.
Definitely. Shout out to you, Citizen X. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat.
And one thing I will say is that a lot of the things you said is that we expect these players to get better. Whereas with the Nets, we already know who these players are. And so that's why the comparison is like, damn, how can we reasonably say that we can compete with KD, Kyrie, and Harden, who will then finally have a full season together, so the chemistry is going to improve. So it's a hard thing to even like. And then I saw somebody mention like Dame and Levine are they going to be free agents this offseason? Is that what
Dame, like Damian Lillard?
Yeah, isn't he under contract?
Yeah, he got a lot more years and a lot more money on his contract still.
and Levine already mentioned to the Bulls that he wants to stay, that he's willing to take money so they could build around him. So there's no legitimate free agents that are going to be total impacts. The only way we would make it work, the only potential free agent that could have that kind of impact would be Kawhi if he opts out of his contract, which, is he going to be that player? No, he's not going to come to the Knicks because we have Thibodeau. It's not like they have an issue, but Thibodeau's not trying to hear anything about taking off, and Kawhi's not trying to hear anything about playing all 82 games. So,
yeah, it takes a specific type of superstar to play for Tibbs. You've got to be a superstar that doesn't view yourself as a superstar, if that makes any sense. You got to be a superstar that just views yourself as one part of the team. If you view yourself as if you're above the team, I don't think you're gonna work with Tibbs. There might be some things he might let slide for Julius Randle, but not coming to practice, I don't think is one of them. Taking days off is not gonna be one of them.
Yeah, because Tibbs, he builds his teams to be able to play even if somebody ain't there. So you think it's all sweet not going to practice, best believe you sit in that game and not getting paid.
I don't know if he'll go that far, but I don't want it to come to fruition and see what happens.
No, I ain't trying to take that risk. But yeah, Kawhi is the only player who could potentially be a free agent who has enough talent for us to compete legitimately with the Nets. Only because Kawhi's already proved that he could do it alone.
Shout out to Kevin Taylor. Appreciate you pulling up and support in the chat. Comments a lot in a lot of the edited videos. Appreciate your support, man. Thank you for pulling up. He says, people don't like Kevin Knox. I would just like to see him when he's the same age as these other dudes with the last name Bridges.
Ain't he the same age now?
No, I think the Bridges are. They're not brothers, are they? The two Bridges is.
They have to be. Aren't they like twin
I
brothers?
think so. I can't remember because I remember when I was scouting them. That was like what 3 years ago. They've been on the Suns and the Hornets. I just treat them as two separate entities at this point. I don't treat them like the Morris twins.
They a year apart.
Yeah, they're not.
My
They're not family or nothing.
Michael
Yeah.
Bridges is 24 and Miles Bridges is 23.
Mm-hmm. I personally prefer Mikal. He's definitely the better player. But Miles is uber athletic. He has that Charlotte Hornets announcer going crazy.
Word. I mean, and he just be yamming it on people now.
Yeah. But Kevin Taylor, to your point, to be honest, I really don't know what we're gonna see from Kevin Knox because
I mean, he's 21 now.
yeah, we haven't seen much. He hasn't been given much time. Like I was saying earlier in the live stream, let us see practice or something. I just want to know. I want to see why Kevin Knox isn't a legitimate option to put out there.
And I guess somebody mentioned Westbrook because
they said Brick Brook. No way. Who said Brick Brook?
I mean, listen, man. Westbrook, he's still a beast. Westbrook's still a beast, man.
Brick, he's a stat stuffer. That's what he is. He's a solid, talented player, but he's a lot of his, I don't know, he's just Brick Brook. Can't shoot. He's a great passer when he feels like it. And rebounding, he just be stuffing the stat sheet. You saw how they had him on the free throw line.
They let him get the bounds, but not. I would honestly be interested to see how Westbrook would play in Thibodeau's system. Because in Thibodeau's system, where defense is the key, there ain't no Westbrook staying behind to get the rebound. It's Westbrook get to the other side of the court when we're on defense. I think it'd be interesting.
I don't think it would work.
Oh, salute again, JD Sports Talk.
Oh, you pulled up again? What's up?
He has a question for you. So in 5 minutes, maybe you'll see that comment.
So Citizens X is asking, would Sports Vibes TV trade Mitch? Honestly, right now, not. If we trade Mitch in a heartbeat, me personally, nah, I don't think we would get enough value for him with him coming off a Jones fracture. Even though the team won't list it as a Jones fracture, but from what the explanation of the injury is, from what I've seen, it's a Jones fracture. So coming off that kind of injury, I definitely want to see what he can do and what he can provide for us. I would like the Knicks to go and approach him the same way they're going to approach Julius Randle and try to get a cheap extension done now. The Knicks have a lot of leverage. Mitchell Robinson been hurt almost this entire season, and he really only has one more year to prove himself. He's only making $1.8 million, which to us is, of course, a lot of money, but in the NBA world, not really much. So he's not someone that's already been fed. He hasn't gotten his bag and said, all right, I don't really need any more. I don't need any extra money right now to kind of hold me down. So if we can go to him this offseason and say, hey, we'll bump your salary, maybe let's say, 7, 8 million maybe for the next 2-3 years. If not, maybe 10. I'm just spitballing here. If he's able to agree to that, then now would be the great time to lock in that deal. And you don't add it next season. You add the extension to the end of that. So you're still going to be paying him 1.8 next mil, and then maybe you have another 2 or 3 years after, if that's feasible.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they go after him this summer then and just say, listen, this is the contract. What are your thoughts?
UBG saying I think Kawhi is going to be a Clipper. Lonzo should have never played in them BBB shoes.
Did you see JD's comment?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. See, chat, if you were here earlier, what I've been saying, I said JD been violating me behind the scenes and text talking about my JD take. About my Julius Randle take. Julius Randle, he's been phenomenal. But I'm still not paying that guy 40-something mil. He's not getting no $200-something million 4-year contract from me. He can get the $100 million extra money that you tack on at the end of next season. So if he wants to come and get a 20% raise, I think it takes his contract to 23 mil. That I can do. He'll be paid 23 mil, not next year, but the year after, and then he'll get 8% raises thereafter. Let me see. I might be able to actually pull up, because I did a. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys, because I actually have the spreadsheet that I did for Julius Randle's contract, where I kind of broke down the year by year figures. There we go.
Deaver said new rule: Inf can't talk about Mitch anymore.
That is hilarious. Yeah, bro. I think people pull up to hear your Mitch take to see when you're gonna finally start giving him some respect.
I mean, it ain't gonna be this season. He ain't playing. He hurt. I would trade him for anything right now, man. I'll trade him for Enos Cancer right now.
You wildin', bro. You wildin'.
No, that is hyperbole. That's hyperbole.
Yeah.
And Wusamar, come on, yo, chill. We don't disrespect Amari out here, man. We don't disrespect Amari.
Who's violating Amari?
He just said give Julius that Amari honey mil contract.
I would give Julius that, because that's 25 mil a year roughly as an average annual value. That I'll do in a heartbeat. I don't got no problem with that.
That 100 million was basically like a 200 million now.
Inflation ain't that crazy. That's probably like 170.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Julius Randle, he deserves a raise, no doubt. But how much of that raise, I'm not sure. All right, and look at the channel. I just pulled it up. So this is what Julius Randle's next contract could look like if we were to extend him in the offseason today. Oh, this year. So his salary for next season would still be the 19.8. And then in 22-23. Oh, did I mess it up? I think I messed it up. Oh, no, we're good. So yeah, so he would be making 23.7 in 22-23, 25.6 in 23-24, 27.5 mil in 24-25, and then 29.4 mil in 25-26. So in total, he would be on like a 5-year contract in total for 126. Yeah, Amari money.
Yeah, basically.
So if we were go ahead.
I'm just saying he might want that 221.
Yeah, that 201 mil. Yeah, bro. If he were to sign a max in 22-23 or for the 22-23 season, he'd be up to 34.7 mil. There's no way we can field I think a championship contending team with Julius Randle making 34.7 mil. I just don't see it.
Mm-mm.
I just don't see it. Look at the cap space we'd have. We'd have 55 million in cap space. And we would only have, we'd still have to re-sign. I think RJ is going to come up for extension in 23-24. IQ the year after. If we're going to re-sign Kevin Knox, we're not re-signing Kevin Knox with the way it looks now, but I just don't see it. And then a lot of people want us to re-sign Burks, Bullock, and Noel. They're all going to eat up into this cap space over the next 2-3 years.
So we're going to be with the same exact squad, just a little bit older.
Just a little bit older, yeah. That's not going to work.
My Holy King said Randle is one of the reasons you're successful. He deserves a max.
No, he don't.
I mean, with that same argument, then Isaiah Thomas should have got the max from the Celtics after that.
That's a good point. That's a good point, bro.
He's not a max caliber player.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he got hurt too. You have to take that into account, but I just don't see us being able to field a team of competitors or a competitive team if we're paying Julius Randle like 40 mil.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Demo B said Randle or Kristaps. Listen, man, one played almost every game this year, and the other one didn't play half the games.
Who said they'll take KP over Randle?
I know. I guess he asked. He said KP or Randle.
Oh, okay.
Clearly Randle.
Yeah, Randle over KP any day of the week.
And he, I think the last game he had like 12 points for Dallas. Now he's becoming just a regular player, and two, he's too injury prone. He get hurt. His bones made out of paper.
Yo, Derrick is wilding on Don Lovato. He said you should be drug tested. Yo, the chat be hilarious.
No worry, they want.
E. Gibson is saying people hating on the New York Knicks after missing playoffs almost a decade. Yeah, people hating on. I don't understand why we get so much hate though. Because Knicks fans, to me, we not annoying like Cowboy fans or Eagle fans. Like, we mind our business. Everybody bothers us. We don't go around picking on people. Like, what are we gonna say?
There could be 10 games going on in a night, and the only NBA game that people will talk about is whatever the Knicks did. Like, I'm like, yo, like just straight hate. Like, oh, y'all because of this or because of that, or like, did we even say that did we mention that we won? No. And chances are they're Laker fans, and then we're just like, all right, but who's in the playing game? Not us. Not us. Yo, it'll be so funny if the Lakers get smoked by the Warriors in the play-ins.
Facts.
I mean, with the way Curry playing right now, he could easily give him 50 for 2 games.
Yeah,
that'll be that.
Curry been wilding.
Oh,
Curry been wilding, bro. Quietly too, because he's playing at 10 he's playing at 10 at night. So you don't notice he's wilding until the next day. I'm not watching that many Golden State Warriors games. There's no Clay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Steph, but Steph is not a big enough draw for me to stay up at like 1 a.m. to watch him shoot threes.
Yeah. And he doesn't cross people up consistently enough to be like, oh. Anytime. And plus, if he did cross somebody up in the game, it's going to be all over everywhere the next day.
Exactly. So, yeah. Those West Coast games is hard. Like when the Knicks, see, it's lucky for me because I come home late for work. So at least I come home, the Knicks are still on. I'll stay up for them. But these other teams, I got to edit videos. I got work in the morning. I can't do it. I'm not as young as I used to be. Back in the days, it used to be lit. Now, got responsibilities.
Now, with that Laker game, I wanted to watch it. I saw that Dre start at 10. I'm like, nah, I'm going to be knocked at that time. Like, why is the Knicks game starting at 10 o'clock? But it was because the Lakers was home.
The Knicks are pretty easy to beat if you get Randle in early foul trouble. I wouldn't say we're easy to beat. I would say that is one of the best routes to take, though. Get Randle off the court and see who else could step up for us. Derrick Rose, he's had some. Thibodeau said he wasn't really injured. It was more give him some time off. But he didn't close the game yesterday. And, he said he was dealing with an ankle injury, quote unquote. So if we don't have Randle on the court for extended periods of time, it's going to be difficult for the Knicks to go out there and create some offense.
Not yet. I mean, and now one thing, because Don Lovato said at the end, why did Barrett have the ball and not Randle? I mean, listen, maybe I don't know which game you're talking about.
I think that was the Lakers game when Randle threw up that crazy shot. I mean, it was 3 seconds on the shot clock.
No, he said, why did Barrett have the ball and not Randle?
Yeah, so at the end of that game, Barrett threw up a crazy last-minute 3 to kind of... Were we up or we weren't up? I don't know if he would have tied the game or won the game, but they did a good job defending Julius Randle and not allowing him to get the ball. It ended up with RJ, and if you looked at that play, they pretty much had all their defenders, the Lakers, had all their defenders over the 3-point line. So it was not much room to operate, and there was poor spacing. Gibson was standing right next to Barrett, and the person that was trying to stop Julius Randle from getting the ball, he was in the mix, and it was just a bad situation to be in. And I think RJ kind of panicked and just threw it up with 3 seconds left.
Gotcha. That's rough.
Randle is freaky.
But RJ, because I remember we was all complaining, like, why didn't they get the 3rd pick? And then we stuck with RJ. We could have had Zion or Ja, but RJ's doing his thing right now. He's about to be one of the first ones out of them 3 to make it to the playoffs. Because the Grizzlies made the playoffs last year, right?
They were stuck in that same, I think, playing situation, and they lost both their games. I think that's how it went last season.
Yeah, they lost against Portland.
They were tight.
Yeah, they were, but they did it to themselves. But yeah, so look at that. RJ's going to be the first one out of them 3 to make the playoffs and actually be a contender, like be a part of the reason why that team made it to the playoffs.
Yo,
we did it.
I saw an article where they were talking about the Knicks potentially going after Jaren Jackson Jr. They're saying that he's a little bit injury prone with Memphis, and Memphis hasn't shown the need or the want to kind of extend him. He's making about $9 million next season, and if he doesn't get extended, the Knicks could potentially go out there, sign him, and use him as a stretch 5 option with Julius Randle out there on the court. Because Jaren Jackson has the ability to shoot the 3. He's sound defensively. He's, I think, about 6'11", 6'10", so he has a decent enough size. And he fits that same mold you were talking about with Kevin Love and Al Horford, someone that'll give the Knicks a lot more space in the paint.
Mind you, when he was playing, he was nice, and he could get up there. His bungees is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be a solid pickup. And he's nice, young player.
Yeah. D.Burr, if you're in the chat, can you do us a solid and give us another score update? Let's see. I see a Guardians fan up in here. Guardians? Are the Galaxy? Oh no, they're talking about XFL.
Oh. And May 4th still keeps saying I could see the Knicks getting swept.
Wow.
How are we gonna get
swept? I don't see us getting swept.
We swept this season.
About the Hawks or the Bucks? Who is he talking about? What matchup? Because if it's the Bucks and he says we might get swept, that would make a little bit more sense because the Bucks are a good team. In general? I don't see the Hawks sweeping us at all. At all. I think that's bare minimum 6 games.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Hawks would be lucky to get 2 games on us, to be honest.
So you think it's an easy dub for the Knicks if we go up against the Hawks?
Yeah. I think we'll either win in 5, and if not 5-6.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not worried. We swept them in the regular season for a reason. Yeah, coach switch up or whatever the case may be, but I feel like we have the better playoff-minded coach.
Facts.
We're definitely a better defensive team than they are. I feel like once we get them playing our game at our pace, we gonna win.
Yeah, they're saying.
And we got playing in the Garden in the playoffs. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, I think this game is over. They're saying it's 117-100. D.Burr is saying there's 2:10 left in the 4th. Shout out Jacob Yasher, you gave us the score, and then D.Burr gave us the time. Oh no, D.Burr said it too. I give both of you guys shouts out. Thank you for holding us down. It's greatly appreciated. The chat definitely makes these live streams a lot easier. You guys have great information to provide, and you guys help drive the show. You give us some great questions for us to answer. Definitely makes this process super enjoyable. So I appreciate the chat. Thank you guys for holding us down. Also, thank you, Inf, for always pulling up with me. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. But we'll wrap it up here.
All right.
Yeah, definitely had a great stream. Definitely. Or you want to wait till the end of the game? Or the Heat Bucks?
No, the game's over. There's 1 minute and 40 seconds left. That game's over.
All right, bet. So, chat, thank y'all for pulling up. Rafael Diaz, salute to you as well. Really appreciate the support. I'm shocked that we hit 200. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks made the playoffs for the first time. That's why we
right? The good vibes, sports vibes, good vibes. You already know. So once again, chat, thank you for pulling up and holding us down. Also, Inf, once again, really appreciate you being the co-host. I couldn't have picked a better co-host, bro. You already know I love you.
You're out here.
All right.
And smash that like button. We really appreciate it. And we'll be here tomorrow.
Yep, be here tomorrow. What time you want to start? 12:30 before the game? I think the game started at 1.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, bet. 12:30. Let's cheer our Knicks on to victory and into the playoffs. So once again, Keith. Well, give me 1 second because I always do this before the thing is close enough for me to end the stream. All right. Once again, I'm Keith, joined as always by my co-host Inf, and we're out. Look, I still missed it. Boom, got it. And